With a 7-month-old, I hardly have time to spend in the kitchen, but I still want healthy meals, and I know that if they're prepped and ready to go in my fridge, I will eat them. So that is really motivating me to get a small meal prep done. Even if you don't have a lot of time, just getting a few things washed, prepped, and ready for the week is really gonna help you out. So I'm gonna start by getting out all of my produce. I just went to Costco, so I do have a lot of things to prep. Now, I may not even get around to all of it, and that is okay. Do whatever your time allows, and then you can always do another mini prep later in the week. Okay, first order of business, let's go ahead and get some things started in the oven, because the oven roasting is going to take the longest, and it's also a really easy hands-off method of cooking. I do find that when I am turning on the oven, I like to utilize it as much as possible. So instead of just roasting 1 or 2 things in there, I kind of make a whole meal prep out of it, and that way I'm not just wasting that oven electricity. So I am gonna roast a butternut squash in there and some sweet potatoes. I'm also gonna roast some bell peppers to make roasted peppers. I talked about that in my Costco haul video, so if you've been wanting to know how to make your own roasted bell peppers, I'm gonna show you how to do that today. And then I'm also going to do some kind of like sheet pan fajita situation with some tofu. So let's go ahead and start by preheating the oven. We are gonna roast everything at 400 degrees today. Now, squash can be a little bit difficult to cut, so do be careful, especially if you've rinsed it so the outside is a little bit slippery. Just be really careful when cutting it because it's really hard to get the knife through. I usually like to cut off the top first and then slice it down the middle lengthwise. And then you're just gonna wanna scoop out your seeds. Now, you can save the seeds and roast them in the same way that you would pumpkin seeds. They are quite delicious and really easy to make, so if you wanna set those aside, you could do that towards the end of your prep after you turn the oven back down to a lower temperature. And I'll post my video here and in the description box for the squash seed roasting in case you want to do that. Now, the sweet potatoes, we just want to pierce a couple holes in them just to let some of the steam escape. I've seen a lot of comments that say sweet potatoes aren't going to explode. They may not explode. I mean, I can't say for sure that they will or won't, but I like to do it just in case. I'd rather be safe than sorry. So I always just pierce a couple holes in mine. And then for our bell peppers, I'm also gonna pierce a couple holes in them. Same thing, just to let a little bit of the steam escape. Oh, I totally forgot to throw some sausages on one of our roasting pans. I just have some of these pre-cooked sausages, so it'll be really easy to roast these at the same time. Now, these are pre-cooked, so they do roast pretty quickly. You could also do these in a skillet, but I'm gonna use these for some of my salad boxes today. So I find it's really easy since, like I said, I'm already roasting, just to put them on one of the baking trays, and they'll taste just a little bit better once they're roasted. Next thing I'm going to work on is to get our sheet pan fajitas going. Like I said, this is just gonna be a little bit of veggies as well as some tofu with a really simple spice blend on there, and it's just a really good way to get both your veggies and protein cooked. I am absolutely loving these one pan dinners lately. I've seen a lot of them floating around the internet. If you want to see a whole video with one pan dinners, let me know in the comments down below. I think that would be a really fun one to do because they're actually really great for meal prep. You can cook up a couple of these pans and keep them in the fridge and then reheat them when you're ready for a delicious, healthy meal. Okay, after about 20 minutes of roasting the sweet potato, butternut squash, sausages, and bell peppers, I just like to rotate everything and kind of check to see how things are cooking. And so for the bell peppers here, what you're looking for is not only for them to get soft, but even to get a little bit of color on there. Like a little bit of char is actually okay. You don't want them super black or burned or anything like that. But like I said, a little bit of color is gonna be okay. Like a dark brown roasted color is perfect. And you may see some liquid oozing out. That's totally fine as well, totally normal. So these all look good. Let's put this tray back in the oven to roast for another maybe 20 or so minutes. I have been really obsessed with pasta salad lately. It's one of my favorite items for fall. I like to put some of the butternut squash in there, and then we're gonna put those sausages in there. So first we're just gonna start with washing and chopping our veggies for this box. So I'm gonna use some of our tomatoes and just a raw diced bell pepper. And then once the roasted items come out of the oven, we can add more into those salad boxes. Now for this bok choy, I've probably mentioned before, I like to slice off the bottoms so that you can really wash them thoroughly. You have to be careful because sometimes like dirt and sand can get stuck in there. And then I know I mentioned in a previous video, if you find that the raw form of these is taking up a lot of space in your fridge, go ahead and just blanch them. Just do like 30 seconds in boiling hot water and then add to a cold water bath. And that will help reduce the size of them so they don't take up as much room in your fridge. Plus they are cooked and ready to go that way, and you can just pull them out and add them into a soup. They will only need to cook 1 or 2 minutes longer. They cook really fast anyway, so really whichever way you like to do it, whether having them raw or lightly cooked, it's really a personal preference. And we like to use these in soups. My husband is a huge noodle soup fan, so he likes these ready to go throughout the week to just simply add into his meals. I also like to use them in congee. I will link that recipe down below. It's super easy. If you haven't tried congee yet, it's one of my fall favorites because it's just so simple and comforting, and honestly takes like hardly any time to cook. So it's a really good veggie to add into that because it's fast cooking and it's really, really healthy. Okay, so for these roasted red peppers, it's really easy. Once they are out of the oven, we just want to put them in a bowl and cover that bowl. You can use a lid that comes with the bowl, or even just take a plate and cover it, and that will just help them to wilt down further. All the steam in there is really going to help to be able to remove the skins more easily. So just let them sit for pretty much the rest of the prep is what I do, usually about 30 minutes. And then once they have steamed a bit and they've cooled down a bit, then we will go ahead and remove the skin and seeds. This part is actually so easy, but it is a little bit messy. I just pull them apart into strips with my fingers as I'm de-seeding them and removing the skin, but you could also use a knife if you wanted to, and you guys will see just how easy this is. This makes beautiful roasted bell peppers just like you would find at the store, which I have found are really expensive at the store, but homemade is actually really easy and a lot healthier because a lot of the ones at the store will also be packed in oil, and these ones you just leave them in a Tupperware and they create their own juices, so they stay moist that way, and they're perfect for adding into any recipe. So now we have prepped our sheet pan fajitas. These are going to be really easy to add just onto some rice, add some black beans on there, or you can make them into burritos or tacos, and it's going to be just a really fast and easy meal to put together. You can microwave it or heat it up on the stovetop, and it's going to be a perfect meal. We also have our meal prep salads ready to go. Now you can use any kind of base for this that you like. You could do more greens like a bed of lettuce, or what I'm going to do is probably cook up some pasta to go with these and make like a fall pasta salad. You could even do a grain as the base and do a grain salad. So just having these boxes ready to go and add on to whatever kind of bed you want just makes it really, really easy to throw together a salad in just a few minutes. We have our washed and chopped mushrooms. These are going to be perfect for adding into soups and stews. We also have our washed bok choy. I think I mentioned how we are probably going to use this, and also you can blanch it if you want it to reduce in size a little bit, but I have a big Tupperware today, so we're just going to add this to the fridge as is, and these will be perfect for noodle soup. I might make a pumpkin miso ramen, which is from my ebook. These are really good in there, and it's a really fast and easy soup to make. If you want more info about that, I'll link it down below. And then of course we also have our sweet potato and squash. So we used part of the squash for our salad bowls, but this squash can also be used in a lot of the recipes in my fall ebook. This would work really well in my delicata squash brownies. Just swap out the delicata squash instead for this butternut squash, and we will have some really delicious brownies. And the sweet potatoes I really like for overnight oats. Sweet potato waffles, you can cube some up and add it into your grain bowls. And of course, sweet potato ice cream. If you haven't tried sweet potato ice cream yet and you are an ice cream lover, make sure you check out the video. I'll link it down below. I actually have quite a few on this channel, and they're all really easy to make. And then of course we also have our roasted red peppers. These are really good on pizza. You can add them into salads or pasta salads. I think we will end up using these with the chopped mushrooms in a pasta sauce. In fact, that's probably what we're gonna make for dinner tonight. So let me go ahead and show you how easy it is once you have things washed and chopped. So all I've done here is just to dice up an onion and some garlic, and that is very minimal effort for me. You could do that during your prep if you wanted to. For me, I just end up doing it right when I'm about to cook something because I don't find it too much effort. But I have done big batches of chopped onion and chopped garlic before, and I do find it really handy if I have time to do that in a prep. So we're just sauteing those on the stovetop first, and then we can add in our chopped mushrooms. You can add in some spinach or any other veggies you have, and then some jarred sauce. You could also use tinned tomatoes if you don't like to use store-bought sauce. And then for pasta, if you didn't know, you can cook pasta in the Instant Pot. I usually do the smaller noodle types like penne or shells or something like that. I don't think that spaghetti would cook very well in the Instant Pot, but all of the smaller noodles do cook really well. It's super easy because it's hands off. Basically, you just fill your Instant Pot with pasta and then some cold water, and then set it on high pressure for 1 minute. Now it does get a little bit tricky because once the Instant Pot has finished cooking, you do need to do a quick release of the steam. So it can get a little bit messy. I usually like to do it near my kitchen vent, and I just toggle the nozzle between sealing and venting, and I kind of watch it, and if it starts spurting out some starchy liquid, then I will close it again and then just release the steam slowly. It usually takes about 5 or so minutes in total to release all of the steam that way. And then go ahead and open your lid very carefully because it's very hot, and go ahead and pour that into a colander or a strainer. And then I like to rinse with cold water here to stop the noodles from cooking further. And I also feel that it just helps to loosen up the noodles so that they're not all stuck together in a big clump. And now these noodles we can go ahead and use for our red sauce for our pasta, but also for noodle salads. So all those salad boxes we made, we can just simply use the noodles as a base and then add all of our Tupperware veggies on top. For breakfast, I'm just gonna use our baked sweet potatoes to whip up a batch of sweet potato chia pudding. This one is really nice in fall because I use a pumpkin spice seasoning in it. And you could also change out the sweet potatoes for another type of pumpkin or squash if you prefer. Just mix all the ingredients together, set it in the fridge to firm up, and then serve it with your favorite toppings. And then for our sheet pan fajitas, let me show you how easy it is to throw some tacos together. I love making these into tacos because I find it really fast and easy. But like I said, you could make these onto a burrito bowl and just do rice and beans as the base, or you could make these into burritos. So first we're gonna reheat our veggie and tofu mixture. I just like to do it in the microwave, but you could also do it on the stovetop. And I'm also adding some cooked grain in here that I have. This is a rice and quinoa blend with a little bit of corn in it as well. But if you had like some black beans in a can or in the freezer, then those would be really nice to add in here too. And then we'll just heat our tortillas on the stovetop. And then I like to add a little bit of cashew cream on here. I make a spicy cashew cream, really, really easy, just blended raw cashews with water and hot sauce, and then also a little bit of guacamole, green onions, and cilantro. Now for dessert, as I mentioned, I am going to make the butternut squash into brownies, but I also want to share with you the sweet potato ice cream recipe in case you haven't tried that yet. I'm going to link it here. Go check out this video next if you are looking for a sweet treat. This, like I said, is going to be really, really easy to make, and it tastes delicious, and plus it's super healthy. You're using sweet potatoes. What could be better?